when I was a kid, I was always outside. I lived in rural Pennsylvania, basically in the woods. I was always out overturning rocks, catching salamanders. There was a creek a couple doors down from where I lived, and I was always there. No matter how many mosquito bites I'd get, I was down there lifting up rocks in the creek and catching crayfish, and I was just always fascinated with life and insects and ants and what does their house look like underground, and bees, like what, it was just crazy. So when I was in grade school, I took out every book that there was in the library on keeping honeybees. I'm just fascinated. When I was 10 years old, I got my first beehive. No, this is not a beehive. This is a bat house. So along with my love for the outdoors and life and creatures of all shapes and sizes, having this land up here, I like being able to provide habitat for the animals, like the birdhouses and things like that. But I did see a few bats in the air last weekend, and I know they're up here, and they're good at insect control, like mosquitoes and whatnot. And since the living conditions here in Colorado aren't the best at all times for animals, I figured I'd set up a bat house, just some habitat. I'll probably get more of these. I just want to see how it goes. I'm going to set this up on our garage slash barn and see if they don't take to it. That'd be pretty cool. So that's one of the things I'm working on today while I'm waiting for permits and everything else. And I also stopped at the local firehouse to talk about fire mitigation and what they recommend and things like that. So yeah, it just looks like there's two chambers in this one. I guess they crawl up there, and it's dark, so it stays warm. And I'll have this mostly facing south, and then they will have a place to stay warm in the winter. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's pretty cool. I'll hang it up here in a bit and show you what it looks like. There we go. That's the bat house installed. We'll see if they take to it. I have no idea how this is going to work or how long, but there you go. More county requirements for my signs for the property address. They have to be only made by the firehouse local to your district. It's a reflective sign. They're required on new buildings. So it was $20. I have to replace my existing one to be code compliant and in order to get permits. So that's what I'm working on now. And should only take a few minutes to swap it out. I just came back from the firehouse. They printed it on site and should be good to go soon. I don't know if this hammock's any good. Just got it off of Amazon. It was under $20. One thing's for certain, it's not going to fit back inside this little case, because once I unravel it, it's never going to go back. So that wasn't too bad to set up. There's two nylon straps, and then they have little loops to hook the beaner clip into. So there's two nylon straps, and then this hammock is, I don't know, it's almost just like tent material, like something like that. Feels like a tent, but maybe a little sturdier. And yeah, you just adjust the straps by wrapping it around either more or less times, and that's it. Let's give it a try. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'd probably like to be higher off the ground, but this is my first stab at setting this thing up. I did delimb these trees late last fall, up 6 to 8 feet per what the fire company recommends, but I still have a lot of limbs to pick up, so I'm just working on clearing out all these limbs and sticks. Truck fills up really fast. It's the only issue. It's not a very long bed, and I don't have it like a utility tractor and a trailer or something like that, so I'm just backing my truck up to the closest spots and then walking back and forth to pick up the limbs. The pile is getting bigger. It's going to be here a long time, but it's definitely habitat for small animals. It's getting bigger. I don't even know how many truckloads I've brought in here. It's a lot. And so much more to go. My only complaint about this Renogy 2000 watt inverter is the fan noise. Even when it's not under heavy load, it'll randomly kick on the fan and it's quite loud. Not ideal for a small living space where there's not a lot of other background noise, because you'll hear it pretty easily. I do have a little hot plate. Since this is a dry cabin, I don't have any plumbing, so to speak. I don't have a sink, anything like that. So I just use a small hot plate when I need to. I also have a camp stove outside, you know, that uses a small propane, 1 pound propane tanks. So I'm just making some oatmeal. I'm also going to have some eggs, so I'm just giving this a whirl. This is steel cut oats, so it's going to take a half hour, so it is drawing quite a few watts. I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, right now it's not too bad on the low setting, but at max power it was drawing like, I don't know, 1200 watts. So it does take quite a bit of load when you first need to boil, but when you lower it down, it's not too bad. So I'm basically standing around the build site where my small home's gonna go, and it's bright and early. It's another day. Yesterday was fire mitigation stuff I was working on, clearing up logs, and then today I'm gonna do more of that. But with the build site here, I may not be here for all aspects of construction. There's probably going to be a lot of times I won't be able to be here. So I have Starlink internet. I have Unify security cameras. So what I'm going to do is set up a camera right on the corner of the garage that faces the build site. So I'll be able to watch in real time and see the progress as it happens. Real time. So that's what I'm going to be working on this morning, just before I get back into the fire mitigation stuff. So you can see the sun's rising in the background. I don't know if you can see it because it's probably blinding out the camera, but Pikes Peak is back there. So I'm trying to line the house up, the upstairs dormer windows where the bedroom's going to be, with the view of the mountains. We'll see how that works out, but for now I'm just going to get the camera set up. So I'm just using Cat 5e. The camera is power over Ethernet, so it gets its power through the Ethernet cable. I already have a power system here in the garage. Here's a Unify power over Ethernet switch. So basically I just have to plug the camera into here. I need to run a line like I did for the access point, and I'm just going to run it down this wall and then poke out on that side of the garage. It shouldn't take too long. It's not difficult. These security cameras are pretty easy to set up. They auto detect and import into the system pretty easily, and it's a really good system. Probably one of the best that I've worked with over the years. I do IT work for a living, but I tinker with technology, and I really like Unify for their security cameras. So I just pull the wire out of the box, loosely ran it. I'm basically going to go behind this big beam. There's like a pretty decent gap that runs the whole way. The hardest part was just getting over all this stuff, but it's really pretty much a straight run. I just have it loosely set right now, and I have the end went behind there. I just basically have to go out. I'm not going to get around this beam, I don't think, but I'm just going to go right out that hole I created. Then I just got to put an end on it and tack it down with some little wire staples, the plastic ones. And here I have the wire outside from the garage. To do an Cat 5e or even Cat 6, You just need this RJ45 connector. It's like kind of looks like those old telephone connectors, but bigger. It's RJ45. There's eight wires in here. They all have specific colors, and basically you just need a little wire stripper to strip a little bit of wire back, a wire cutter to trim it at the end before you put it into the RJ45 connector, and then a small crimper to crimp the wires. This connection, it basically clamps down on this and pinches the wires in there. So I always use the B. So when you do an RJ45, there's like an A wiring and B wiring. I always do B, and it just needs to be the same on both sides. So even if you do A, you just want to make sure you do A on both sides. Otherwise, if you do A and B, that's called a crossover cable. We don't want that. We just want a straight through cable. So we're doing the B wiring on both sides. I don't know, I'm not sure if this will come up well on the camera, but basically if you just Google the Cat 5e B wiring, this is what you'll see, and it has the pinouts. There's basically 8 wires, and it shows you the color coding that you have to set the wires. So that's what I'm going to start doing here. So this is what you want it to look like. Every wire in there, each colored pair is a stripe and a solid. So you just follow the wiring diagram to get them in the right order. You kind of wiggle them, straighten them, pull them. You know, it takes a little bit to get them straight, and then you just slip on this connector on the end and then crimp it. So I'm on a ladder, and it's hard to video and do this at the same time, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Basically, you're just slipping this on and crimping it. I like to use 2 hands and hold the one end when crimping, but the RJ45 connector just goes into the crimp tool, and then you just squeeze down on it. I usually like to go twice, and that's it. And it just pulls out. And there we go. There's the finished connection. And I just do the same thing on the other end, and I can plug my camera in here and then put it into the switch, and it'll get its power from there. And we'll be done. These are the little clamps that I use to hold down the Cat 5e wire. It's just basically a little plastic clamp, and it has a little nail, shoots into the wood. So I'm going to start back in the back of the garage where I just finished that outside wire, and I'm going to work my way in back to the source, and then I'll cut and crimp the other side. It may be hard to see, but there's those little white clamps, and I'm just securing the wire along the wall on the wood every so many feet, just so there's no slack and that it's just snug. So the camera has this little plastic mounting base. I think the toughest thing is getting these 2 little screws in. They strip out pretty easily. And then here's that finished cable. It goes into the back of the camera, and then this slides right on top of the mounting base, and then there's a bottom cap that goes on. So again, I'm one-handed, I can't do it, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So here's the camera mounted. There are these 2 little slits on the camera base that allows for zip ties, and then just have a couple zip ties that are, you know, keeping it snug. But I can turn this camera, put it up, down, and that's it. I'm just gonna power it on and then check my app to make sure I have the right view that I want, and then this task is done. And it works. Here's the new camera, the garage view. All the different cameras I have in the property. Most of them are at the cabin, but now, as building or construction crews are here doing trades, I can keep an eye on what's going on real time. Earlier this winter, when I wasn't getting enough solar during the day and unable to keep my batteries charged with the amount of power I was using, I added these 200 watt Renogy panels, or 200 each. There's 400, so this catches eastern sun early in the morning, but it was winter, there was snow on the ground, it was a mess. So I just ran the cables around the outside, put these panels on, same thing, and they just kind of go into the front of the cabin. It was just a quick and dirty way to get solar quickly. But now I want to reroute these wires under the cabin. I've been meaning to do it. There were a couple times I went to go do it, it was just sopping wet. So now it's dry enough. The only issue is now I'm getting good solar here in the morning, so I'm gonna do these in the afternoon, but on the south side I'm still not getting sun, so I'm gonna see if I can't get these wires rerouted under the cabin before they start getting energized and I won't miss any solar. So that's what I'm gonna start now. I was gonna do fire mitigation stuff, but this is just ugly, sloppy, and I want to fix it. It's just one of those things that I've been meaning to do and I haven't, and I'm just gonna do it and get it done. All right, so under the cabin, yeah, it's crazy under here, I know. I have to pull out these solar cables, run them all the way down between the shed and the cabin. There's not enough room to get through there, so I have a green fish pole. I'm gonna send that through the other side and then route the wires, but I use cardboard to crawl under here because there's so many rodent droppings. This is gonna suck, but I have to get all the way to the other side to get this wire up, so here we go. Well, I made it. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I still gotta grab the fish. I have this little grabber. So I'm just gonna grab that, bring it over, and we should be good for this one. It may be hard to see, but I'm just using these wire clamps for the solar under the cabin. Probably should be in conduit or something, I don't even know, but I just want to keep it off the ground for sure. Keep the rodents from being able to chew on them, being right on the ground. Yeah, to-do list to get this stuff better organized. I really would like to have conduit, so in my free time. All right, I got the first one done. This is the second one on the east side. This is all rotted, this skirt board, but I did get the wire to right about there. So I just need to grab it, pull it, and then crawl back under the shed and staple the wire. But yeah, this has been a bear. This one's been tough because I can't really crawl under there. It's so low to the ground, the shed. Under the cabin, it's not too bad, but over here, it's pretty bad. So I'm just glad it's right there. I can just pull it, grab it, and be done. So we are done. I ran the solar wire under the cabin, tapping into the floor joist with staples. So it's good enough for now. Keeps it way off the ground. I'm just glad to have this done. This has been a bear to get under here and climb under the cabin, but another thing off my to-do list. All right, the wires are now tucked under the building, no longer out front. Here we are, just wire staple goes under, hits the floor joist. Now that ugly wire running through around the front of the cabin is gone. All right, that's a wrap. Got the wiring all done. It's all cleaned up, tidied up, off the ground. I tidied up some other wires too, the wire clips, since I was under there. More things that I had to do. But now I am absolutely filthy, and it's time to get a shower and clean up my tools, because if you turn around and look, we're starting to get some storm clouds, so I gotta start getting my tools put away before the rain hits. Well, that was good timing. I got all my tools in. It was a quick little storm. Truck's a little wet. It passed pretty quick, and that's the way it is here in the summer, even though we're not quite summer in Colorado. The mornings will be crystal clear, not a cloud in the sky, but then by mid-afternoon, lunchtime, these thunderstorms just roll in. They just come and go, and they'll usually dump a lot of rain, hail, lightning, all that stuff, and then they're gone. and then the rest of the afternoon is usually pretty good. So, all right, back to work. Now that looks better. All the underbrush is gone, all the delimbed branches that were on the ground. Now my next tree is this one. It's already down, it's dying, the needles are already starting to turn brown, and it's an eyesore. So I'm gonna start delimbing this one and hauling the limbs out. The log I'm probably gonna leave for a little while. I might chop it up because that's gonna have to dry out before it can be burned. All right, I'm making a lot of progress. I got all that underbrush done, all delimbed, the one that had fallen. I took down an additional tree here that was half dead. That fell down here. That's all delimbed. Now it's just a matter of picking up all the limbs. I have more to do to delimb and take care of, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, because then I'll just have limbs and so much to do everywhere that'll be overwhelming. So I'm going to stop here and just start picking up all these limbs. It's probably going to take several truckloads to get this out of here, but I'm making good progress. It's looking good. All right, that's a wrap. Another great weekend, got a lot done. I've brought you along for most of everything that I was up to. I just have to clean up these piles and I'll be finished. I have a couple more weekends and I'll have most of this fire mitigation stuff done around the cabin. I'm just going to keep at it, and I'll keep you updated as I go. Take care.